Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to Tuesday Night Knit Chat. Again, before we get into too much, we just want to make sure that you can see us and hear us. So, beautiful Tuesday evening here today. So we're glad to be here in the Knit Chat Cafe. It seems like 1 week seems like it goes by fast, but then when we miss a week, it seems like 2 weeks is like forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think 1 week seems like it goes by fast because it's like, I hardly got anything done.
Well, okay, so
I got some
coming
things done,
coming
but
from me, the person who doesn't get as much done knitting as you, I always think after the show is over, I'm like, whew, okay, skated through that one. Now I have a whole week before next week. I'm gonna like get so many things done before next Tuesday. And then the next thing I know, it's Sunday, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Knit Chat is in
yeah.
like 2 days. I haven't
Yeah,
gotten enough
just
things
goes by
done.
so fast. Anyway, because a week is not that long of time to get
It's really not.
some things done, but because you do have to sleep at some point.
Yes, you do. So we should say,
Who we are.
I'm Kelly. I'm Kelly.
Noelle.
This is my friend Noelle.
Yeah.
We're coming to you from Southwestern Ontario, which is in Canada. In Canada. And this is a mostly knitting podcast, but we do other things as well. And this is our weekly live stream from our virtual Knit Chat Cafe. And
Yes.
if you've been here before, you know how it goes. And if you're new here, welcome. And if you are new and you're near a keyboard, then please feel free to jump in. There are comments rolling down the right side of that screen for us. If you have a question, pop it in there. The rest of the group that we have in here is an extremely friendly, extremely helpful group. And if there's something we don't know, and there's lots.
Which there usually is, a lot
There's
that we
lots.
don't know.
I guarantee somebody in here is going to know the answer. Or somebody, one of our little helpers that are in here will toddle off and find the answer and bring it back to us. We're very lucky to have such a talented group of people in here that are very, very helpful. So
yes, I was just looking down here and I saw like there's lots of people from Australia and New Zealand, and one of the viewers is from Nelson, New Zealand. How did I not go to Nelson? I have to go back. I have to
There's
go
a
back.
Nelson in BC as well.
I know, but I mean, if you're in New Zealand, like, you should go there.
Should.
Anyway, maybe I really do want to go back, but won't be this year. So
shout out to Debbie, who's been working on the same pair of socks since January 1st. Debbie, you're my girl. You're my girl. I've got socks in there probably from before January. And we know that because Noelle keeps track of what I don't get done.
That's right.
Hey,
so do I. Believe me. Like this week was a week of, I think this was a week of let's start some new things.
This is going to be a week of let's start all the new things.
Last week.
Yes, you did. And I know already, based on just the things that have arrived into my house this week, it's going to be a week of casting on. And we have a long weekend coming up for
Noelle
and I.
Weekend.
We have a cast on weekend, and there will be no judgment.
We should tell Isabel and Irene were in here, and I think Dawn was in here. Cast on weekend.
Cast on weekend. Double dog dares all around the table. Yes, absolutely. We are heading to Hoffman Estates in the suburbs of Chicago for a mini meetup hosted by the Frivolous and Frugal podcast and 3-Ply podcast. Yeah. And we went last year, which is how we met that wonderful group of people.
That's right.
We are excited to be going back again this year. And it's a fantastic weekend. It could not get more low key. There is space to knit, and there are people to knit with. And that's how we roll. Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
And we get to knit on the train all the way there, and we get to knit on the train all the way back. So hopefully, if there's not a whole lot of finishes next week, there'll be a whole lot of new cast-ons.
There will be lots of whips to show off. Absolutely.
So anyway, we're very excited about that. So it was Jenny who was in Nelson, New Zealand, and she said it's absolutely lovely there. So I am going to have to make a trip to go back. Kelly, you should talk Mike into going to New Zealand.
Oh, Mike is game to go absolutely anywhere. He never says no to a trip. All I have to do is tell him what time to leave and like give him a location so he knows what to pack in his suitcase, and he is up for any bit of travel. Always.
Anyway, so this past weekend, it was funny because my oldest son, a good friend of his, he contacted me and he was having this party and he goes, "You need to come to this party because he says, I was just at my aunt's and she was showing me all your video stuff, and Curtis's friend didn't realize that I did this video. So his aunt in London, Wendy, was showing him all this video stuff from our podcast, and she's like, my aunt's coming and she wants to meet you, so you have to come to the party. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
It was so nice and so lovely, and I had a wonderful time talking to her. And in February, she's going on an Arne and Carlos Norwegian cruise.
Our dream cruise. Our dream cruise.
I'm like, can't you leave your husband home and take me?
I was actually thinking to ask you about that. Is that something we should do?
I
feel like we should do it. I think
Ross said he won't go, but we don't need them.
I wasn't planning for them to go.
Anyway, it was so nice, and she was so wonderful, and she lives in London, so we're actually going to make arrangements to get together when I go to see Jacqueline and another new person to knit with. And yeah, so it's amazing how like the world is so small, and it's like, I don't know,
knitting,
just, to meet people, and
knitting shrinks the world.
Yeah,
you heard it here. I used to say that about technology, because when Kendall
Julia's
moved across,
game, she'd go.
Okay. When Kendall moved across the country to BC and we had to spend our first Christmas apart, which was dreadful, we FaceTimed, and we FaceTimed like the entire Christmas morning, the opening of the gifts, the baking of the breakfasts in two different provinces, and all of the things that we would normally do together. And I said then, how technology shrinks the world, but I think, it's truly knitting that shrinks the world. So you heard it here.
For sure. Yep. So yeah, anyway. So that was fun. That was nice. Because when we first got there, like this was like, my Curtis and Rachel were invited to the party when we first got there. This was definitely a young person's party, right? And I said, Ross, we're like the oldest people here.
Well, had a similar experience last weekend because we went to the Ravelry Music Festival here in Sarnia, and we were invited. We were given tickets, which was like super exciting. And we went with our Mike's brother and his friend, and we had such a good time. But Mike is the kind of person, he loves music and he loves going to concerts, but Mike likes to sit down in a seat at a concert. I'm not that girl. I want to be part. I want it to be like an interactive experience. I want to sing, I want to dance. And we were there to see the Glorious Sons, and I know most of their music, so I was like super hyped up. And so and plus Tom Cochran opened for them, which was like all of his songs too. So we were at the back, and then I said to Mike, come on, we got to go up there. Let's go up there. Well, we got up there and we started on the fringe, and we just kept working up. And throughout the concert, I didn't realize it because I'm a crowd nervous person. So I was having like a small amount of anxiety just being in that many people. But as long as I didn't look back at how many people were behind us, I was fine. But before I knew it, we were like 10 people from the stage, and we were having like the best time. And then I started to look around, and I thought, I am definitely the oldest person this close to the stage. And I don't even care. The stage,
but I know there were a lot of older people that went to that concert, but you might have been
but they were probably at the back sitting in the lawn.
They probably brought their chairs because you could bring chairs.
They did. But anyway, it was fantastic, and we had a great time until the fight broke out beside us. That was not so much fun, but it's just a lot of pushing and shoving. And I said to Mike, let's just exit stage right. But we held our ground. Everything was good. So it was good. It was really good. We had a great time. Okay. So we're 10 minutes in, and it's a knitting podcast.
It is knitting.
People are wondering what they tuned in for. I can tell.
So, okay. So we usually start off with, words are gone. We usually start off with some administration. So we tend to go back and look at any of the comments that were under last week's podcast or any emails that we've gotten in. So one thing that I did have someone ask me was they wanted to see where we knit under the bridge. So I actually had to go and steal this photo off Kelly's Instagram because I didn't have any, but I did get a photo here. So let me just bring it up. So we're not actually like right underneath a bridge, but here's our bridges. So this is the bridges that go from Sarnia, Ontario over to Port Huron, Michigan. So there actually are two of them. One of them is closed at the moment for I don't know, I guess the maintenance work on it. So we're kind of down from it. There's a beautiful park along it. You know, you get to sit and look at the water. There's oftentimes lots of big freighters going by. Now that we're into more summery weathers, there's lots of boats going under there. So it's a
Yes,
really
I was going to
lovely
say, I
spot
think
to
this
sit
is an
and knit.
older photo because we're all in woolly knitwear. And
Well, I
last
think
week
it's
it was
this
too
year,
warm.
but I think it was one of the first times this year that we could actually go and knit under the bridge. But oftentimes when we do go down there, because it's right beside the water and there's usually a breeze coming off it, it is oftentimes cooler than what it is in your own backyard when you go out. So, but yeah, lovely spot to sit and knit. And, you know, if you're ever in this area, come and join us. If it's a Saturday morning and it's a nice day out, then we're usually down under the bridge. Otherwise, we go to a coffee shop if the weather's not conducive to knitting under the bridge. So
yes. Yeah, Natalie is saying that was our first outdoor one of the season.
yes.
And there we were in all our knitwear and happy to be there. And it's amazing the amount of people that stop and talk to us because they see us knitting. Like everybody wants to know, is this an actual group? Is this a knitting group? Well, we're a group of people that knit. So I guess we are a group, but yeah.
Yes. Candace, we wish you lived closer to us too, but you should just come some Saturday and you can stay over at my house that night. Or come Friday night and then we'll go Saturday because you got to drive. So you didn't have to drive so far in the morning. But yeah, it's a lovely spot to go and sit in it. When I look at that picture, it looks like we should have like a big campfire in the middle of it when it's cool.
Yes.
So,
yes. We are very fortunate to have that space. We have beautiful parks down there by the water, and you would be surprised at how many people are down there on any given time that we're down. And then last week, we actually knit under the bridge twice. We went midweek, and there were more people there, I think, midweek than there were on the weekend. So it was, it's a beautiful spot to hang out.
I know we have to take advantage of it when the weather's nice, when it's nice enough to go and sit there. So
yes. Yes. Thank you, Marianne. It is the group. You're right.
It is. It is the place to be in
Sarnia. It is the place to be on a Saturday at 10 o'clock. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So another question that I had was, what do I do with all my sweaters? Okay. I do have a lot of sweaters and I do go through them occasionally, and it's time to do it again now. So I do go through them. And I think what I'm going to do this time when I go through them, if I'm not wearing them, or I don't know, if they're just like maybe not a style that was one of my favorites, because I mean, I've got sweaters dating back from a lot of years ago. I think I'm going to just like get them all washed up, and I think I'm going to donate them. So, because I do need to make some more room, because it is starting to get a little full, and you always seem to have your favorites that you wear all the time. And then some that for some reason or other, and sometimes I knit a sweater just because I like the pattern and I enjoy knitting it.
Which is how you ended up with 92 shawls.
Yeah, that's right. And it's not necessarily that you end up with, you know, something that you absolutely love to wear, but you really enjoyed the process of knitting it. Well, you know what? Someone else might as well be wearing that sweater. So
yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's what I'm going to do. Not till after we get back from out east. So yes, good project for October.
Well, there's also like something else that you could do too. You know how everybody is always saying, "Oh my gosh, you're a knitter. Would you knit me a sweater?" No, I wouldn't. But if I had one that I was ready to give away, like I've done with many pairs of socks, you know, sometimes I make socks and they aren't maybe a color that I think I'm going to wear, or they aren't, I don't know, just for some reason, I don't think they're going to fall into regular rotation. Yep. Those are giveaways and gifts and things like that, because people love getting the handmade knitwear, and we can't wear everything that we make.
I am not like, I know that. And I mean, I know some people do go back and rip them out and reknit it into something else, but that's just, I have so much yarn that I haven't knit with yet that I don't need to add to my stash that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like I said, it's already been knit. It's a finished garment. If someone can use it, they might as well use it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Joy's asking if there's an address to put into her GPS. She lives in Guelph and likes to drive. So yes, just put in the Blue Water Bridge in Point Edward, and that will get you there. So. Drive to the end of the road, and if you're going to drive into the river, you've gone a little too far. When you get to the end of that road, hang a right, come into the parking lot under the bridge.
Or just message us when you get there, and we'll let you know where we are. So.
Yes. I like Tammy's response. Here's a good one. Her husband asked how many sweaters she needed, and she laughed and laughed and laughed. Yes.
Well, it's like my son asking me how many shawls do I need? Well, 93 apparently. So anyway, Kelly, I think you had a question too.
Oh, yes. Iwa sent a message, and she wants to know, how do we decide on the length of a crop sweater? So for me, I generally, when I decide on a sweater, I generally have an idea what I want to wear it with. And I have, Kelly's guide to the crop sweater, which is, if I'm making something that I want to wear with blue jeans, it's going to be a longer sweater. And then I tend to wear a lot of these dresses, like the one that I have on now. And this is what I like to wear crop sweaters with, this style of a dress, or, well, maybe not necessarily this exact style. So the waist on these dresses are quite high. So that's generally where I want my crop sweater to land, right at the seam where the bodice of my dress is going to drop into the skirt. So for me, that's how I determine it. You, Noelle, anything different?
Well, basically the same. I kind of like to try it on what I'm going to wear it with, or I kind of like a cropped one. I kind of like to go to kind of like the bottom of my rib cage.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be just like if you had, and it depends whether you want to wear it with high-waisted pants, then it needs to be a little bit longer, because I don't want to go like this and have bare skin showing, right?
That's right.
And like, we can tell you this, but you really need to try it on, because everybody's distance between underarm and waist is different. So where you're actually going to, that length that you're going to knit your crop sweater to, is not going to be the same for every person.
That's
so
right.
Even if you're reading a pattern and it says knit it to this for the cropped version, that might be long for you. It might be too short for you. Like, you really need to know this measurement in here, because Kelly and I obviously are quite different height wise, and yet our crop sweaters probably are the same distance from here to here. So it really needs to be adapted to your own body. So the first couple of times that you do them, you're probably better to pick a top-down pattern, because that way you can try it on as you go and see where it ends up. So I think that's probably,
honestly, if anybody, when I think about the word crop sweater, do you remember, this was a while back, Shania Twain, I think, is the person who made the crop sweater. She kind of brought that in, but it was all about like showing everything below the crop sweater. And if you had told me,
I looked like her,
but if anybody had said that I'd be wearing a crop sweater at this point in my life, or at any point in my life, I would have laughed and laughed and laughed, like Tammy said. But since I like to wear them over dresses, or I also like the way they look over a longer button-down shirt as well.
Yeah,
I think that's really, really kind of trendy as well. So crops are now available for, well, in my opinion, crops are available to me. Crops are available to everybody, no matter what.
They are. And, sometimes it's just getting used to wearing something different.
Yes.
Because I resisted them for a long time, and now I've got a couple of them and I really like them. And even just to put, like, even something like this one, like I would put a little camisole or tank top underneath, and like have a couple of inches of the camisole showing, and the top just kind of end at,
absolutely,
like I said, where my rib cage is. So I think it's a different look to get used to. So yeah, but again, it's all going to be personal preference and what you're going to wear it with. So
okay, so we have we just got a new question in here. Amy's a fairly new viewer, and she wants to know how long each of us have been knitting.
Probably since before you were born, Amy.
I've been knitting since I was a young teenager. And
I was younger. I was like 8.
Yes, I think you were really young.
I was. Yeah.
I mean, I learned how to knit, like the very basics of knitting, but then it was not until I was a teenager that I decided that I wanted to learn more about knitting. And I actually had a book that I taught myself to knit from. Like my mom taught me the basic knit purl stitches,
Yeah.
but anything beyond that, I learned from that book. And that's also
Yeah.
how I learned to do crochet.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom taught me the basics, and like, I remember like at 8, 9 years old, I was knitting clothes for my dolls that had eyelets through it to put a little lace through to tie it up.
Absolutely.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we should get moving here. So we should talk about what we're wearing.
Yes, Natalie, we do not match tonight. However,
No, we don't.
We do look like we could go out trick-or-treating with these bright colors tonight.
I just want you to know, Kelly, this is not orange. This is
Okay.
fluorescent coral.
Yes. Well, okay, you start talking about what you're wearing.
Okay.
How about that?
I am wearing the Ranunculus by Midori Heroes, and it is done in the Knitting Loss Care. That's Kare. The color, as I just said, is fluorescent coral. And this, for my size and the length that I did, took one skein. And it just honestly feels like you're wearing nothing. It's just, I can't tell you how much I love this.
Do you have
sweater.
pants on?
I have a dress on.
Okay, very good.
But this, like, I absolutely love this. I love wearing this sweater. I love the feel of it. I love knitting it. I don't know, when I put on like these colors with the bright pop, I just feel like happy.
Happy. It is. It's a mood enhancer.
Yeah.
Better than edibles.
Yeah. Yeah. Ross doesn't particularly, he just goes, yeah, I don't know, the color's okay. And I love it. So
yes.
Anyway, but
yeah. And how many ranunculuses or ranunculi do you have now?
I have 7.
7. Soon to be. Oh no, it's me.
But
that's
you know
making
what?
one
But
more.
you know, it's changed.
Every one of
ways.
them
My
look
very
exactly
first one,
different.
the very first one was like really wintry, and it's got long sleeved, and it's like the body of it comes down like past my hip bone. And then I've got a couple that I made before. I really did a couple of them where they just had where you just cast off the sleeve. And I probably wouldn't do that again, because I kind of don't like how the edge just kind of flares up. Like, I really like it finished. So if I did one that short again, I would still go back and pick up this and do at least a couple of rows of ribbing just so that it lays down. And it could have been just the yarn that I used. And then my last 2 have been out of this one out of Care, and then the other one was a lavender color that we got in Montreal, and it was Barra Tricot Champagne. And those 2, like, I honestly just, like I said before, I just want to make everything in this yarn. So it feels amazing. So, okay.
And I am not wearing a sweater tonight because it's warm, and friends, my AC stopped working yesterday. So it's cool down here, but nowhere else in my house. This is a dress that I made, and I actually got Mike to take a few pictures of it because it's really hard to stand up and show you a dress. There's no pattern for this dress. This is a dress that I see one picture of it, and I thought I put 2 in. Okay, well, there's one. There's the front. There's what everybody can see, but I wanted to show you the back. Hold on. I might have to go and grab another picture here. I know it's on my desktop. So this dress, how it came about is the front, this piece here is actually the piece of the pattern from the Burnside bib coveralls that I have. And then there's the back. Sorry. So, and then I had to draft the back of a dress, and that's coming in. You'll see that here. So I'll show you the back.
That's pretty.
Yeah. So I had to just draft the back of a dress, and then I just put a basic gathered skirt on there. So basically it's 2 rectangles. It's not that hard to do, but this is not even a fabric that, it's not even really a fabric that I would be keen on keeping or using for the dress. It was just something that I got at Fabricland off the $5 fashion bin. It's somewhere it says there's linen in it, but I've washed it 3 or 4 times and it does not behave the way a linen does. It's it's definitely lighter, and there's a lot of other fibers in it. Not so much linen, that's for sure. But it was
Maybe they sold the part with the linen in it before you got there.
maybe that was earlier in the yeah. But I do like the bold pattern print, and I do really like that part of it. So I mean, I would wear it again, but for, the $10 that I spent on this dress, this was a good learning experience. It's a good adjustment. I now have some pieces that I could make the dress out of linen if I wanted to. I've drafted the pattern and kept it. So
Yeah, it's pretty. So, okay. So, do you have any finishes?
well, besides the dress, yes, I do.
Okay.
I only have one finish. How many do you have?
Just one.
Okay. Well, you start. I'll make notes here.
Okay. So I finished my ELS sweater by Isabel Kramer. Just going to find a banner.
Oh, look. I'll go.
I got it. Okay. So this is the ELA by Isabel Kramer. So it's a cardigan, and it's done in Durarium Natura Robinson, which is a blend of 70% merino and 30% cotton. It's naturally dyed. This color is called Eau de Rose, so I think that means like rose water. So it's a really, really pale blush color. So you've got all this lace detail down the front of the cardigan, and then the back is just stocking stitch, and the sleeves are just stocking stitch. So I do have a picture of it, and it's all knit. It's kind of nice because it's all knit in one piece. Like your bands and everything are knit at the same time as the lace. You kind of knit it separate until you get down under where the sleeves would be. And then it's just in one piece down to the bottom hem. And then you just pick up for your sleeves and knit down. So it's kind of nice when you're done. You don't have to go back and pick up anything for bands. I really like that, not have to go back. I mean, I do a lot of sweaters that you do have to pick up the bands, but it is something to be said about when you're done one that you can just go back and it's finished. So I do have a picture. This is a picture that I just got Ross to take today, and believe me, it was boiling hot taking a picture with this on outside today. But because even though it does have the cotton in it, it's still, this is like a worsted weight yarn, so it is quite warm. Yeah, but I really like it. And I have my new clogs on.
I was going to say, you've got new clogs.
I did.
Very nice.
Anyway,
and what do you think of them so far?
Well, for me, I'm going to have to get used to them. I'm going to have to, because like I said, I need to have surgery on my feet towards the end of this year. I need to wear them to kind of stretch it out a bit, but I think they'll be fine.
Good.
So, yep.
My clogs arrived today too. So I have 2 new pairs to add to my ever-growing list of clogs. I can't stop. It's I'm as bad for buying clogs right now as I am for buying yarn. And the clogs that I've been buying and the ones that Noelle just got are Lotta's, and they come from Sweden, and I love them. Like, for me, they are a super comfortable shoe, and I have clog sandals. I have closed toe clogs. Today I got my first T-strap pair, and I got slippers as well, like cloggy slippers. So I'm just going to clog it out. I should take up clogging.
No. They're they're nice, and that color is called oatmeal, so it basically will go with all the summer dresses.
Absolutely everything. Yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. So I'm happy with that sweater. That was started basically a year ago. That was yarn that I got at the Knitting Loft. So they carry all of the Durarium Natura. So I really wanted to try a lot of them. I really do like that one, but it definitely is a more like fall, spring sort of fabric that you get from it. But then I do have some of the Gilead and the Ulysse that I really want to try too. So,
very nice.
I like the fact that they're I think a lot of the merino that they use is organic, and I don't know. It's just that I wouldn't say, I mean, it's not rustic, but that yarn does have like some grip to it. And it comes in a lot of really nice pale shades that are really nice for, they're kind of like, they're pale shades, but they're almost like neutrals. Because even that one is the blush color, but it looked okay with the coral colored dress. So I think when you get into a really light color, you can kind of use them as a neutral.
Bruna just popped in from the Knitting Loft, and she says that Dururum is coming out with a mohair.
How can they do this to me? That's a
you knew it
condiment.
was coming.
I forgot. It's a condiment.
It's a condiment. It doesn't count as a yarn purchase. It doesn't count. Woo!
That was
Shop
a close
away.
one.
Shop away.
That's right.
Yes.
So
that's great. That's great.
Okay. That's my only finish.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have something to do, don't I? Okay, I finished. I didn't sew my button on at the back yet, though, so that I know which is the back. But I finished my Willa sweater, and this is a pattern by This Bird Knits. And I made this using, whoops, get that little thing out of there. Okay. I made this using the Loving Path yarn in her Merlin base. So it's a merino yarn with a little bit of a linen content. I love, love, love this color. This is just like a perfect tee. So my original plan was to make it as a crop. I did put a picture in here too. But the picture does not show the true color. What you're seeing on the screen is more the true. Well, you know what? Maybe it's not. It looks blue on my screen. It is actually more of this tealy green color, but it's a beautiful yarn. And my original plan was that this was going to be a crop sweater to wear with dresses, but I had a fair bit of, I had 2 skeins of the yarn, and I didn't see a point in keeping like a skein or a part skein left over of this single base. It's not like I could do a lot of other things. So I just decided to keep knitting. So I knit this, according to me, this would be like in the t-shirt length. The only change that I did make to the pattern is I added a detail down the side as well with the lace. And that sort of mirrors the lace that's up here in the yoke. I just thought, you know, sometimes a single has a tendency to spin on the bias a little bit.
Yeah.
And I thought, by doing that, and plus I just finished that rocket tee and it had a similar detail, and I thought I really liked the way that worked out. And since I was making this one long enough to wear with jeans, I thought I'm going to put a similar detail down the side, and it's fine. The drape on this is incredible.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing.
It's absolutely beautiful.
The thing with putting something down the sides too, like for me, psychologically, it helps you get through the body faster, because you know when you're knitting around, so you always feel like, okay, I got 2 sides, so it gives you like a starting point.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
So it just psychologically, it just seems like the rounds go faster because you're always getting to that point, and then you go to the next point. Whereas if you're just doing the whole thing around, I don't know, and just plain stocking stitch seems like it takes longer.
Yes. So the thing too, I had in my head, I had decided that this was going to be my last summer sweater that I was going to cast on. Even though I have some summer sweaters in my favorites, but I thought, okay, now like I should get into the mindset, you know, because Rhinebeck is coming up and we've got sweaters to make for Rhinebeck. And I thought I should be in the mindset of making some things that are moving into fall. But you know what? Darn it. I was watching our friends Woolen Wishes, which is Tracy and Kirsty, and they're from the UK, are they not?
The UK, yep.
Yes. And today Tracy was wearing, well, when I watched it, she was wearing the Salty Air tee, which has been on my list forever. I even have yarn caked up for that. And I thought, gosh darn it, that's it. It's going on needles. So I'm going to make it in the linen quill. And the bonus to that is I don't even think I'm going to need to swatch for it, because so many people have made it with that yarn. I'm just going to trust the yarn and dive right into the pattern. So just kind of keep a mental track of what I talk about tonight as far as cast-ons, because by the end of the night, I may surprise myself.
Oh, I'll remember.
You'll remember. Yes. Well, I'm not, until they are on needles, they do not get added to my list.
When was it? Anyway.
Before we leave the conversation, when we were talking about the knitting loft too, and buying things, I got an email. I know anybody that's on her mailing list got an email, and they're having a deep clearance sale. Now it's not for in the store, it's online only. And I looked with my eyes, not my shopping fingers, but that doesn't mean I'm not heading back in there yet. And she's got a lot of yarn on sale, and it's deep discount, friends. So you should, if you're looking to spend a little and you're looking for a good deal, go check out what the Knitting Loft has on sale.
Okay. So now we're moving on to whips. Do you have any whips?
Yes.
How many do you have?
Do swatches count as whips?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, then I have several.
Okay. I have 4.
All right. You start then.
Okay. Well, I'll just give an update on the socks that I said I was going to get finished that I didn't get finished. But so there is my first one. I showed that last week. I don't have it on the sock blocker. This is Speed Bumps. I believe there is a banner for it, Kelly, if you can.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Yep.
This is Speed Bumps. This is done in Timber Yarn's Twin Sock Marl. And I had just barely cast on the second one last week, but I did get a little bit done on it. So this will be coming with me, and hopefully over the course of that, because I think this will be good train knitting. Hopefully I'll have a finished pair by the end of, or by next week, because I really need to get moving on these socks. But all these new patterns keep coming out that I just seem to hop onto my needles.
I think I need to stay off the socials. That's the issue.
I know.
Because if I don't know what's happening, I don't know what I'm missing. Right?
That's right. I know.
I just need to look away.
I know, because there's even more that. Anyway, yes.
And it's going to be worse after this weekend because we're going to see people knitting things and we're going to say, oh, we want to knit that too. Yeah, I know. It's
okay. And full disclosure here, I did not work on the Makealongs. So I'm just going to have to take what I have done, and it will get done, but it's not going to get done by Thursday because there's just too many other things that I want to knit.
Full disclosure, I said I was going to make a hat before we went, and I didn't. I looked at the hats. I did. I looked at the hats, but it just wasn't what I felt like working on right now.
That's right. It's just not what I felt like working on. And I mean, yes, you want to finish things, but realistically, you really want your knitting to be
enjoyable. Knitting should not be forced.
You want to be able to sit down and knit what you want to knit. I mean, I do want to finish things. Like, I mean, I will finish it, but that's just not what I want to knit right at the moment.
Right.
So.
Okay. So the next whip that I have is, there we go. So I showed this last week, but now it's done. I have a finished sock of the DRK Everyday Sock, and I'm knitting this in Timber Yarns All Over Marl in Pink Pop.
Pretty
pink. She told me pretty pink.
It's pretty pink.
Pretty pink. And it is pretty pink. It's beautiful.
It is.
So I did decide just to do a little licorice stripe at the top because I thought these are for Kendall. And I thought, well, if she's wearing them with boots or something, it's kind of nice to see a little detail popping out of the boot. This sock is amazing. It just feels, it's going to be hard to give them away. I'm not going to lie. It's so beautifully dyed.
It is.
It's gorgeous yarn to work with. It's super plump. It's squishy. I kept trying them on.
Knit another pair.
I know. I tried them on and I'm like, oh, they feel so amazing. I don't want to give them away, but I will. Of course, I will give them away. She will really like them. So they're beautiful. So that was.
Kelly, Becky wants to know if you got gauge in the Willow. Did you get 18 stitches?
No, I didn't. What did I tell you I got? Did I tell you I got 19?
I can't remember.
I had to do my knitting math, Becky. But now that it's done and blocked, I will definitely remeasure and I will let you know. But I had to go down a size in the sweater, I think. Is that what I did?
Down a size. If your gauge was more stitches, you would have to go up a size.
Nope, I did not go up a size. I went down.
Let me figure out. Is that because of the amount of ease that was in the sweater, though?
Might have been.
Because it wouldn't, like, I mean, if your gauge is tighter.
No.
You would. If your gauge is tighter, you would have to go up a size.
Yes. Well, I don't know what I got then. I thought I got 19. The number sort of stuck in my head at 19, but that was like 2 weeks ago, Becky. I don't know what I did 2 weeks ago. I will measure it. I'll put it in my notes in Ravelry when I update that. For sure I will. But I'm pretty sure I didn't change the needle size, or did I? Okay, let me figure that out and I'll get back to you, Becky. Sorry.
Okay. So I have another whip. This one was just a swatch last week, but this is my Pressed Flowers cardigan by Amy Christophers. And this is what I have so far. So it is knit bottom up, all in one piece to the armhole. So I'm going to hold that up to the camera so you can see the colors in the.
It's beautiful.
Anyway, I love it. I love knitting it. I love the, like the pattern is easy to memorize. Like I don't need to look at the pattern anymore. The yarns that I'm using, this first one is Southlander. So this is by Skeins in New Zealand, and I got it when I was in New Zealand. This color is called Dusky Heather, and it's an absolutely gorgeous color. It's like gray, mauve, brown kind of.
It's a lot of colors.
It's a lot of colors, and it's just the perfect neutral. So like it's warm. It's not like a cool gray. It's not gray. It's really more purpley. But if you look at it in certain lights, it looks gray. And what I'm holding with it is this is the Knitting Loft's Care, and this color is called Frosted Sprinkles. So
it's beautiful.
And I absolutely love the juxtaposition of putting the rusticy yarn with the silk, because the Care is 70% silk, 30% mohair. And it only has like a really slight halo, but what you really see is the sheen from the silk
shine,
in it.
Yes.
And then the colors, like probably like this color, I probably wouldn't wear as an all over sweater, but I love how the colors just pop in and putting it with this, the Dusky Heather colorway. And this
that's
pattern,
a fun way. That's a really fun way to play with colors. Like, you know, sometimes we see these skeins and they're kind of like these, I don't want to call them crazy colors, but those vibrant colors, although you are wearing one tonight, are not always for everyone's
Well, yellow's
taste,
not
right?
a color. Yellow's not a color that I would gravitate towards, but I do love like the yellow and this together.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
And I think like there's so many colors in there. Like I could wear almost any color of a t-shirt or a dress or anything underneath that. And this weight of like, I really like the weight that I'm getting with this. So this Southlander is 100% New Zealand wool, and it is a sport weight. So they're telling you on here that the tension is 24 stitches. And I would say this is pretty much a true sport weight. It's definitely thicker than a fingering. And this is non-superwash, but it's just so soft and squishy. Like it's not merino soft, but it's certainly not like Briggs and Little.
No, absolutely.
So, and then this one, just like I said, this one just feels like a dream. This is.
Well, that's yarn that you gifted me from New Zealand as well. And I'm getting ready to cast, actually, I'm getting ready to swatch for that for another sweater, using that yarn as the base, and then using the spin cycle yarn that Bruna gifted us in her shop color. And I'm planning to use that as the color work. And I think I'm making the sheep camp sweater. And so if I can wear it, it's definitely not rustic, because I'm much more softer skin sensitive than you.
So there's kind of like,
it's beautiful.
Fold it over, and then you pick up the bands and everything after you're done. And it does have drop sleeves, so you pick up and go down for your sleeves. So I think I'm probably going to take this with me, because I can knit this without looking at a pattern. And
yeah, and it's still small enough. It's only like at this point, it's a 2-ball.
Well, I'm going to bring hardly any clothes and just knitting.
It's going to be warm in Chicago, though, so I'm going to be mindful of that. Because I have to say, today almost was like too warm to knit, depending on what you were knitting on.
I still knit outside.
I know you did, but I was thinking by the time I got home, and like I said, the AC not working, hopefully it's fixed tomorrow. So okay. So then, well, it was kind of a swatching day. And so the next thing that I'm looking at is this sweater, which is the Wilfreda. And this is a pattern. Oh, I did make a banner. Wench rolled. And this is similar to a ranunculus. I've had this one in my queue for a while, but it reminds me of the ranunculus, and it kind of works up to a similar gauge. And so I think it will be a good fit. So one of the things that I knew that I wanted to make it with was, oh shoot, now I'm looking for my second skein. I have 2 skeins of this beautiful Leo and Roxy mohair, and this is their wallpaper, which is actually all the colors that are in their wallpaper up by their cash register in their store. It's absolutely beautiful. There's even like little pops of green in there too. It's just pretty stunning. So I knew that I wanted to pair this just with a light base so that the mohair has a chance to shine. You know, generally we use the mohair to tame down a busy skein. Well, I wanted this to jazz up a plain skein. And so I knew that I was probably going to knit it with something, one of the super softs that I have. So I started this. And maybe I will have everybody chime in on what they think tonight too. Oh, look at that. I dropped a stitch. I don't think it's going to matter. It's just a swatch, but I'll grab it. And so I started out and then I couldn't stop. So the first thing I did was, this is the mohair paired with oatmeal, which I do really like. That was Noelle's suggestion. And then, but I thought maybe it looks a little muddy. So then she said, well, what else do you have? Why don't you try cinnamon? So that's with cinnamon, which gives it a completely different look.
It does.
I don't dislike it. It's just not jumping off there saying knit me, but I do really like it. I think it almost gives it like a green look, the cinnamon behind it, because the cinnamon is quite, the cinnamon, cinnamon is this color.
Yep.
Okay. And then third try was knit with this one, which is dried plaster. And that's this color. And I think that that's probably like the best fit at this point for it, because it's very complementary. It's a similar shade of pink to the mohairs. But then I had to try one more thing, just because I was being stubborn. And Noelle said it wouldn't work, but I just wanted to try it anyway. So that's with slow. And you know what? I mean, yes, definitely it looks like
it's pretty, but the mohair is pretty. Lost.
But the mohair does kind of get lost. Although, I mean, it would be pretty. So,
it depends on the look you're going for. Like, you wanted the mohair to really stand out.
I did.
So there's too much of that color that's similar to the slow that
yes,
the other colors almost get lost.
Yeah. So working down, this one was the oatmeal, cinnamon, dried plaster, and slow. So we're going to take slow out of the equation. So let's see what everybody else thinks. A lot of people are saying dried plaster. It's funny, Julia said slow before I showed slow.
Yeah. See, it depends what you're going for, because like you're going to have a much darker sweater for the cinnamon.
Yes.
You know, and look at what you've got, the couple of sweaters that you have that are similar to those, like your love notes. Like, what colors are those? Those are
gold, blue and a gold.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, there you go. You got everything.
Yeah.
So
yeah, lots of people are saying oatmeal.
I like the oatmeal.
You like the oatmeal?
I do. But it's your sweater.
It's my sweater. So, I know.
That's right.
I will say the oatmeal tends to show the green a little bit more. So I guess
mostly it looks like it's between dried plaster and oatmeal.
So that's the oatmeal.
Yeah.
And then that's the dried plaster. They're very similar.
The oatmeal is more, if you look at the oatmeal, it's more heathery. So you're going to get more, depth. I thought when you look at that, you see that, because the dried plaster one
is definitely not heathered.
Well, it almost looks a little, when you have it with the mohair, it almost looks a little flat.
Flat.
Like, it doesn't have the depth that the oatmeal does. So, but anyway,
well,
like I said, your sweater.
Lots of
but you
people.
should pick the oatmeal. No, you should pick what brings you joy.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of a toss-up. Like everybody is divided on this. So, all right. Well, I guess we'll have to tune in and see what Kelly picks.
Yep.
I do like the oatmeal, but I do like the dried plaster too. But I mean, honestly, they're so close. It's like, like the designers that say, oh, look, I just love this. I searched high and low to get this perfect shade of white. They're so
Anyway.
close. They're so close.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Okay. So I have another whip, and this one is, let me just find the banner. This is the field sweater, which I'm sure I didn't put a picture of the sweater in because I'm sure you all know what the field sweater looks like. It's been all over Instagram for the past, month and a half before it was released. So I started it this week. I am doing it in, this is Roots and Rain yarn. So there's my yarn. And this is her Trillium sock, which is a limited edition. So it's 70% redo Arcot and 30% nylon. So I did a little research on the redo because I wanted the redo Arcot because I wanted to know what the sheep was. So it is actually a sheep breed that was developed in Canada. So it's specific to Canada. And it is a blend of different sheep, or a mishmash of different sheep that they kind of bred. And it was the Finnish Landrace, which obviously comes from Finland, Suffolk, which is a British breed, and then an East Frisian, which is from the Netherlands. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And plus, the reason that it's ARCOT, because that's an acronym. The ARCOT is Animal Research Center in Ottawa.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and that's what the ARCOT stands for. So there is like a Canadian ARCOT, but then there's also this redo ARCOT, and then I think there was another one from another one. But anyway, they were bred because they mature very quickly. The ewes are quite large, and I think they produce lambs relatively soon. And I think a lot of the lambs are used for meat sheep. But I think what's really neat is now that they're, I mean, obviously the ewes you're going to keep for breeding, but it's now they're finding purposes for the yarn, for the wool from the sheep as well.
Okay.
So I think it's really nice that, it's not just like one or the other, that you can kind of have breeds that are specific and you can do both with. So this is, Donna from Roots and Rain, and this color that I'm using is dyed. She does all her yarns are naturally dyed, and she uses rainwater for her dye baths. So this one is dyed with red onion skin, chestnut, and Eastern Brazil wood. And it's kind of it's actually gorgeous. So there's
absolutely gorgeous. Yes.
So there's I've got the yoke done. Well, almost done. Like all the detail in the yoke is done. And now I've just got maybe about 5 more rounds to go before I split for the sleeve. So that's going to come with me too, because I'll just be knitting round and round. So that'll be a pretty easy one for something. Now this yarn is classed as, she says it's sock yarn. Okay. It says actually on the label, it says fingering weight, but there's 450 yards in here, but it is definitely a woolen spun. But this is like, I'm on a 4mm needle, and this is knit at a 20 stitch gauge, and I'm getting 20 stitches with this. Like, this yarn is so plump. And even when you see it, I don't have any more skeins that are not rolled, but even the skein itself looks big.
Oh, so, yes. Yeah.
And then what's nice about that is you're going to have this done, and you're still not going to have a sweater that's super heavy. So, and I do have a picture. I took a picture of the yoke just so you could kind of see.
Oh, is that in there? That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, it is. At least I
didn't see it. No, I didn't see it in there.
I know I put it in there. I don't know what happens here with some of these things. Well, anyways, it's not there now. Well, just like you put that one picture in and you said it wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, I was positive.
I know I put that in there, but anyways, we'll have to figure that out from Streamyard.
Okay, so now I'm having a hot flash in a hot day.
Yeah, it's super. It is fun to knit this. It is all the grains take a little bit of time, and when you get to the large grains, I had to use a crochet hook. So the thing about this is you're using a cable needle to do them, and I don't like having to use a cable needle, but you really have to, because when you've got yarn overs in there, to slip those off your yarn over would be gone. So I would recommend, if you're doing it, that you would definitely want to use a cable needle with it. But so now all my fun part is done, and it's on to just the plain stocking stitch. But actually, the yarn is it is variegated, but like the colors just kind of blend. And I don't know if
Yeah,
that's
it's
just
so
the natural
beautiful.
colors or they're just so tonal that. But anyway, having a lot of fun knitting this, and that will come with me this weekend. So hopefully I'll get a lot of it done. I mean, obviously it's too warm to wear it right at the moment, but
Julia, that's clever.
anyway.
Roots and rains and grains.
And grains, that's right. Well, it just seemed like a perfect match to do like that field sweater, which seemed like organic and natural, and put it with like
Yeah, it's perfect.
A naturally dyed yarn, kind of like and it's kind of really neat too that the yarn is Canadian. And I thought that was interesting about the sheep. I like to know where all these things come from. So
absolutely.
okay.
So do you have anything else, or are we down to the Florencia?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll let you start talking about that.
Okay. So we were contacted by Unit Toronto, and right at the moment they're doing a knit along for the sweater Florencia. And I do have a couple of pictures in here of it, if they're still here.
I put some in too.
Okay, so there's they had sent me some pictures to show. So there's a picture just kind of showing the detail at the side. Here's another picture that kind of shows it at the front. And then there's one that shows at the back. So the lace detail is kind of on the back and the front. And this is the Florencia pullover. It's by Claudia, I think she actually says, Quintanilla. And this was originally featured in the last issue of Lena magazine, but now it is actually available for purchase. So we're entering in the knit along with them, and they have a coupon code, and I'll just pop that up there. They have a coupon code. So if you go in and you order it off Ravelry and you put in the coupon code FLOR, you will get it for 50% off the pattern price. So, and I'm going to, in the details in the show notes, I'm actually going to put in a link to their Ravelry, and it goes through the details of the knit along. They are actually doing this in conjunction with, it's co-hosted by Olga from Gotham Knits and Johanna from, I can't say this, Time Off Tejidos, and she's from Chile. So basically, the whole KAL is pretty international. There's different countries involved with it. And they did have their kickoff, and it actually was in Spanish, which was interesting. But anyways, for their KAL, it runs from July the 14th. So it's already started. And I believe it runs till August the 31st. And you do have to sign up. So I will make sure that I put all that stuff in the link below. But they are going to be offering 3 $100 gift cards to Unit in Toronto. And they're going to pull those from the Ravelry thread. So we are, in conjunction with them, also going to run this, but we'll do another one in our group. And in our group, you don't necessarily have to do the Florencia pullover. You can just pick one of Claudia's patterns. And again, I will link that in the show notes. So you can pick one of her patterns. She has lots of patterns. There are kids patterns, there are sock patterns, cardigans, sweaters. And then in ours, if you do the Florencia pattern, you get 2 entries in our KAL. And if you do one of her other patterns, then you get 1 entry in the KAL. And we are actually going to run ours for a longer period of time. We'll run ours until the end of September. So that kind of takes us, to the end of summer. So that way you've got more time to knit a sweater. So like you said, if you're knitting something and a sweater might be hot to knit at the moment, it gets you a little longer to finish. And we will have prizes at the end of ours as well. So Kelly and I were gifted some yarn to do the Florencia pullover. So we just got it yesterday. So we've got slightly different colors. So there's my color, and my color is called Sage Blanc. So it's like a really pretty kind of pastel-y green color. And then Kelly's
and mine is Rita, which is a gray blue. It's very, very beautiful. And this is gorgeous yarn. I've not knit with this before, so I'm excited to knit with it. It's the Amelia and Philomene, and this is the Madame Philippon yarn. And it is a merino cotton. I think it's 50-50 merino cotton, and it's a fingering. It feels like, I hate to say that it's almost, or I almost don't like to say that it's with cotton, because as soon as you hear that word cotton, you start to think that it's going to be coarse. This is anything but
It's not.
coarse. This is
No.
absolutely so soft and beautiful. And I started just when I came down here tonight. I cast on just getting ready to do a gauge swatch. So I'll just show you a tiny little bit of what it looks like knit up. It is
Pretty.
really, really beautiful. And you said you've got a gauge swatch done too.
Well, I ripped out my gauge swatch already because I started the sweater.
Oh, okay.
So that's all I've got done though. Okay, so the sweater is bottom up. Okay, so that's all I've got done. I've only got the little bit of the lace in there, but the sweater's bottom up. It's kind of cropped. So I'm like, okay, I like to know how long I'm knitting. So I decided to do a provisional cast on. So I will knit the body of the sweater, and then I will go back up and I will pick up the stitches and I will knit the rib down. That way I can adjust the length if it's not what I want. So I used a tutorial by Pearl Soho for the provisional cast on, because they do one where you kind of do it over a crochet hook, but it puts the stitches right onto your needle. Like I know some provisional cast-ons tell you to do a crochet chain and then you go in and you pick up stitches through the chain, but this one actually puts your stitches right on the needle in your scrap yarn and then you knit directly into the first stitch. So I actually found that was easier, or a way that I like to do it better. And again, I thought that gives me control over the final length of my sweater and being able to try it on before I'm actually totally finished the sweater. Now I looked through the sweater again. So again, it's called the Florencia. I looked through the pattern again, and the lace is a really simple lace pattern. So, and even if you're not used to looking at a chart, this would be a perfect sweater to try with a chart, because it's really just like a basic kind of geometric pattern that just like basically shifts. And there's, so many rows. The actual length of the pattern repeat is only 11 stitches. So, if have always thought that you'd like to try something with a chart, but, you thought it was too complicated, this would be a perfect one to kind of get your head wrapped around that. So
very nice.
And your stitch, like all your detail is on your front and your back. Your sleeves are just plain stocking stitch. So, and if you look through Claudia's patterns, she really does have a lot of beautiful patterns. I know Kelly, I have knit some of them before. I know that I've done she's got socks. I forget what they were called now, Bashful, but I really like them. They're a really neat diagonal texture pattern. And I think Kelly, you've done, what was the one? I know you did it in your summer silk.
Melody, the Melody.
Yes.
Melody sweater.
Yeah. So.
And yeah, Amy, yes, there's a method to do the provisional cast on right onto your pony cords. If you're interested. And I'm trying to think now who was showing that. Was it Laura Nelkin, I think. So if you follow her on Instagram, you could check that out as well. Yeah, that would be good too, because then you could just slide them back onto your needle to do the and yes, Julie, you're right. The CLO hand warmers are also from Claudia. Ah, yes. And those are honestly some of my favorites. Yes. So yeah, for sure. But yeah, so again, so if you're nervous about the, the length and you're doing like the bottom up, just starting with a provisional cast on is kind of way to, still be able to have some control over that final length. So good. Okay. So that will start. Ours will start now. I will, in the next couple of days, I will get the information for ours up on the Ravelry group. And again, I will post the links to the Instagrams and things from the other groups that are involved, and the link to the unit one where you can get involved in the knit along. So sounds good. Okay. What else do we have? That's it. That's all I have. That's all you have. That's all I have. Oh, did you get yarn this week? Well, I got this. You got that, yes. So last week we were chatting about the knitting loft and the care yarn that you had, and people were jumping out of the chat to go and buy care. It was absolutely, a little bit of a frenzy. And somebody Who brought up the black ranunculus? Who did that? Was that you?
Yep.
Yeah. And so Care comes in black, and Bruna was so kind to not only put some aside, but send us the yarn.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
arrived today. And so this is the Care in flat black. And I'm going to make a ranunculus out of this. And
I am going to
you are
make the
making something different.
Wilfreda sweater.
Yes.
So that Wilfreda sweater that Kelly showed the picture of before, I am going to do the Wilfreda sweater with that because I've just done 2 ranunculuses, and I think it would be really nice in that. And I'm actually probably going to do it long sleeved.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, you have 2
I think,
skeins, so you've got
I think it'll be
room
a
to do
perfect
that.
yarn for it. So
It's
Kelly's
beautiful.
going to roll up a skein for me so that I can start it on the train on Thursday.
Good friend or what? I'm telling you. Wouldn't you like to be my friend, the friend who cakes for you? Look at that.
So, yeah, so I'm excited about that. And I think it will actually be really nice for that Alfreda sweater because I think the you were looking at it. What was the tension on that sweater? Was it 18?
Yes. Which is the same as the ranunculus, is it not? Well,
No, ranunculus is 14.
No, but I mean the one that I did. I think it's pretty much
Yes.
the same as the one I did. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Or one of the
I
ones
know
I
that
did.
I looked at the Wilfreda pattern, and I know that for my ranunculus sweater, I know I like 150 stitches around here, and there's a size in the Alfreda that's exactly 100 stitch or 150 stitches around here. I think it's the second size. Anyway, so I know that that will work out because I want it the same tension as this because I like this fabric. So yeah, I'm excited about starting that. So it just looks like, it's just be nice to do something with a little bit different detail than the ranunculus because like I said, and it's not that I'm not going to do more ranunculus. I just want to do something different for a change.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We want to knit what we want to knit. Yeah. And we don't need each the same sweater. It's bad enough that we knit the same sweaters. We should sort of or change up the colors now and again. Yeah.
Yeah.
True Love says that's why she got carbon, is because there was only 2 flat black left.
The carbon was a beautiful color too.
Carbon is beautiful.
There's so many,
well.
and there's so many, and there's so many still nice, bright, like fluorescent neon colors that I still need to do more of those too.
Well, it's just I've been saying for years that I want a black sweater, and I haven't wanted to knit one. And then, as I said last week, when we were on the train to Montreal, Sid, her name is, or that's what everybody calls her, was wearing a black ranunculus over a white button down. And I just stared at that sweater all day. So there we go.
So, yeah.
So that's how many cast-ons are we at for Kelly? There's the ranunculus, there's the Florencia, there is the Wilfreda,
and
the salty air tea. That's 4. I thought there was something else too. Maybe not. Oh, and yeah, sheep camp 5.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that my new I don't know. Who knows? I'm not going to say that because I'll probably cast on something else too.
But I still have to finish my roost. I have to do my Alto Stratus, which is my Rhinebeck sweater, and I still have to finish the J sweater, which is in pink plaster. So that's like 8 by my simple math.
So,
goodness.
Okay. Well, we should talk about our knit-alongs because we didn't even get to that last week. So we have the Florencia or the unit cal will be just starting, and we've already talked about that. So the other cals that we have going are our sock cal, which is just basically, and actually, will we be at the end of a month before next week?
Yes.
Okay.
Won't we be?
Or is it the 31st? This is the 25th. So
yes, well,
yeah, so we will be. It'll be August 1st.
It'll be August 1st.
Okay, so for the sock knit along, we draw prizes every month, and we go from the beginning of the year till the end of the month. So get your socks in there for this month because next Tuesday we'll have prizes for the end of July. And all you have to do is finish socks. It doesn't matter if you started them 20 years ago. Doesn't matter. If you finish them, you can put them in. And the prizes, Natalie Remembrances Pottery is very generous to us, and she donates a pattern prize every month. And she's got some amazing patterns in there. And then we also have a sock yarn prize. And I haven't looked recently to see how many pairs of socks are in there, but you guys are keeping up the sock mojo this year. I am not. I am
That's
not,
right.
but
You are falling desperately
I am
behind.
falling behind. I am like so into sweater mode right now.
Yes.
So, okay, so that's one Cal. And then our other Cal that's going on is our Smash That Stash. And Smash That Stash, all you have to do is use 50 grams of stash yarn. Stash yarn is yarn that was in your stash prior to January the 1st, 2023. And again, it can be a whip, but you just need to finish it and get it in there. We draw prizes every quarter for that. And then at the end of the year, we're going to have a grand prize that will be decided between the people that put something into every quarter.
All 4 quarters.
So, oh, Julia says there's 1,668 pairs of socks. Wow. That's awesome.
So many socks. So many socks.
Yeah. And then our Burra Cal, which I'm not failing at because the cal goes to the end of the
December
year.
31st. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
There's time. We've got time.
There's time. I just got to stop casting on sweaters. Okay. So the Burra Cal or Marie Wallen or Susan Crawford, you just have to knit a pattern, either the Burra Cal or a pattern from Marie Wallen or Susan Crawford. And there is a finished object thread on Ravelry for our group. And we will draw at the end of the year for that. And this is in conjunction with some other podcasts, with 3-Ply Podcast, Around the Table Yarns, Dude Knits, Frivolous and Frugal, Got Whips, Magpie's Cottage, Pandemic Knitter, and PJ Knits. They might have slightly different rules than us, but you're welcome to enter your project in as many cals as you can fit it into.
Yes.
So,
all of who we
and
may
mine
be
will
this
be
weekend.
done. Mine will be done by the end of the year. It's just not going to be done by. It's just not going to be done by Thursday.
By Thursday, no. No.
So, but I have enough of it done that I actually could put it around my neck, pin it, and it would look like that for a photo.
There you go. There you go.
Anyway, so those are the cals that we have going on. So make sure, get your things in there, and we will have sock cal prizes next week, plus probably a lot of new cast-ons, maybe some yarn purchases.
Maybe. Stories about shenanigans.
I'm going to have at least one finish. I'm going to say that right now. I'm putting that out there. If I have to knit a dishcloth, I'm going to have a finish.
Oh, something will be finished. I'm sure of it. Yes.
So,
I know things will be cast on.
Yeah.
I just want to throw this in here too. That's something that we're not always mindful to do. But if you want to get in touch with us for any reason, this is the best place to do that at knitsandpiecespodcast@gmail.com. And honestly, where, where Noelle and I are most active, well, I know I am.
Okay, it was Jen that had the black ranunculus on.
Oh, was it Jen?
Not Sid. So Jen and Sid were together.
Yes. Okay. Anyway, so on Instagram is where I tend to spend sort of like the bulk of my time. So if you're looking to follow along there, I'm the Tangled Stitch on Instagram, and Noelle is at Noelle's Knits and Pieces, and that's where we post a lot of our works in progress and finishes and things that we do throughout the week. And something that I've been doing a little bit more of this summer is posting things that I cook. And I'm often inspired when I see somebody else making a recipe, and then I'm like, oh, that looks so good. Then I want to make it. So that's sort of why I post that. Hopefully maybe you'll be inspired by some summertime cooking recipes. And so, yeah,
I'm inspired to eat it.
I do enjoy cooking. I really do. And yeah. So, okay. So that's where you can find us. Oh, yes. And we've got some notes in here. Hit the thumbs up. I didn't say that, but yes, hit the thumbs up as you exit the door, hit the button on your way out. I'm guilty of doing that as well. I forget to. I get so caught up in other podcasts that I forget to. And then I often have to go back in after, leave a comment, and then hit the thumbs up because I realize I didn't do that. For channels on Instagram, that's really a way to help the channel grow. And if you are worried about missing some of our episodes or wondering when we might be around next, you can always hit the little bell, and you'll receive notifications after you subscribe. And then that will let you know when we have a new episode up. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Irene, see you in 2 sleeps.
Amy, that grilled corn recipe I made, that was the bomb. That was so good. So good. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So
Look at us coming in on time at 1 hour and 15 minutes, right where we
Yep.
want it to be. Just like we
that's
planned
right.
it.
We have to go and cast on some things.
We do. We do.
Kimmy says she can't find the Alfreda. It's not Alfreda, it's Wilfreda. I'll
Yes.
quickly pop that banner up. If I can, there we go.
Yeah, Wilfreda.
Okay, so
Beautiful
it's
sweater.
Wilfreda. It is. So, okay. So everybody take care. Have a great week. Get lots of knitting done. Relax. So we will see you all next week. So take care. Have a great week. Happy knitting.